Hello everyone, this is Cybertronian Beast, and let's talk Transformers. Today we're taking a look at Transformers Animated, Leader Class, Ultra Magnus. I recently acquired this figure at a toy show here in town, and the gentleman selling him really just was a collector like myself, purging his collection. So, getting full value of the toy really wasn't a priority. He just wanted to get, rid of it, and I was able to get him for a really good price. $10 for this fully completed figure, which is amazing. I was really excited to get this figure. He has some really cool light and sound gimmicks, and I'll show you those throughout the transformations. And yeah, he is enormous. So let's get to that, and let's start off with some of the gimmicks. Okay, first off, he has these cannons on the tops here. They are fully articulated, as cannons are, so they can definitely go up. They can forwards, and they can face backwards ish, but they do have a light and sound gimmick. Basically, you're pressing this red button on the side and they light up. Pretty cool. They also do have a transformation. You're lifting on this little lever here and pulling forward, and you're getting an additional gun coming out. And that's also capable on both sides. So you have that. On the front of the vehicle mode, there are two additional transformations to, let's call it, up-armor him. So first, you pop down the front here, and you can lift up these two additional guns, which are quite cool. You bring the front back up, drop the guns back down, and then pull the or slide the barrels out, and you've got some additional firepower there. He does have another additional transformation right in the front grill area. Got to use your fingernail for this one to pull. Oh, nothing much, just Gatling guns out. The other one's also pretty sticky. Use a thumbnail here. So dueling Gatling guns on the front, not too shabby. So there he is in alt mode, fully armored up. It's pretty good. I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of this guy. So let's put him back to regular mode. And we'll get into the transformation to robot mode. First things first, we're going to take this out of the back here. This is actually his weapon, and that is his sledgehammer. And the sledgehammer actually does have a nice little transformation of its own. Quite simple. You bend down the handle, but that's not it. Pull up. Bam. Ultra Magnus's hammer. It's awesome. It's really quite cool. So now that we've got that out of the way, we can actually get into the figure transformation. Now, he is pretty big. I'm going to try and keep him in camera angle here, but please forgive me if I get him out of focus. So we're going to get the gun turret out of the way here just by moving it up a bit, and we're going to transform his legs. Now, his legs actually take up the entire back of the, or the entire side of the vehicle. If you look on the bottom here, you can see most of the front of robot mode, and there is his head just in there buried, but it's hidden quite well. So back to the legs, we're going to just drop this front or this side panel down and bend it all the way back here. I'm going to do the same on the other side here. It's nice how everything does tab in quite nice on this figure. It's really, really solid in alt mode and in robot mode as well. Okay, so for the legs, we're going to now bend them around like so. Make them nice and straight like that. Again with the side. Bring them around. Just like that. He has some feet that are buried on the other side. Turn them around here. There they are. Just flip them out. All the way. Alright. Now those are some pretty wide legs. We're gonna thin them out. What you do is there's a double hinge in here. Right in there. Let's get some light on that. So double hinge right there. So we're going to take this and we're going to fold it in on itself. So the outside now becomes the inside, and now we're going to bring this around to form the outside. And there we are. That's one leg. And notice how it's on an angle like that? That will enable him to stand quite nicely. So we've got a nice thin shaped leg. Quite ingenious actually in how they made it happen like that. We're going to do the same on the other side. Double hinge, folding the outside in, and we got two legs done. Perfect. And he can now stand. It's very top heavy though. Get to the top now. Okay, so we've got these sections here. We're just going to flip that down. Remember, this red button is a sound button, so basically whenever you push down this a little too hard, you're going to get a noise. So we'll try not to do that as often as possible. What we're going to do next is we're going to break this part in half. There we go, and these are the arms. So basically we're just going to bring them down to the sides. Now the arms do have another double joint in them, and it is a really tight joint. So don't be worried about putting a little bit of pressure on it. Bring the fists down here. It's very, very tight. Okay, so let's reposition the camera here. Let's get a good look at it here. So what we're going to do, whoops, that flew off there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring this guy up. It is easier to see from the other side. So there's the double joint there. Again, it's very tight. So what we're going to try and accomplish here is we're just trying to separate it from the shoulder. Do the same on the other side. There we go. Okay. So now that we've got that done, we're going to bring around the whole shoulder assembly right around, and it's going to fall in behind, and here's another sound. It's going to fall in right behind the cannons. So once you actually snap it into place, you get the transformation sound. Straighten out the head. So we're going to turn the shoulders around, bring them in on to face the proper way. Do it with the other side as well. Okay, Now, as it sits right now, they're a little too far away from the body. So what we're going to try and do is, if you look on the back here, you see how it's basically extended. It's in the full way. We're going to try and actually angle this now up instead of horizontal. We're going to try and put it vertically. So let's try and do that with as minimum of stress. Okay, so there's one. And let's do two here. Yeah. Very good. So basically now we just got to straighten out everything. His arms are in the right spot. I'll bring that down. We just got to straighten everything out, put the arms in the right positions. Make sure everything's looking good. His hands, not fully articulated, but they do open and close 4 fingers all at once. That's on both hands. That's pretty cool. Now that we've got the arms and whatnot all settled into their spot, we can bring the cannons back around and basically just kind of sit them behind the head, just like that. So he fills out there. And the last touch will be to put the hammer in his hand. I like to put it facing the way that the hinge that for transformation faces the inside of his hand, so he would be holding it. That way that if it's holding this way, it doesn't actually accidentally, transform. So we can just stick that in there. There we go. So he's got his hammer. It's a very cool looking figure, very tough. Now that he's in robot mode, it has activated another sound gimmick. This front crest, the Elite Guard crest, it is a button. So if you push it, you get three voice sayings.
Ultra Magnus here. Don't be a hero, Optimus. It's not in your programming. We must return the old Spock to Cybertron.
So there you go. And you also, if you noticed one, I pressed it, his mouth opened. So you can actually, make him look like he's talking. It's more of a puppet looking mouth, but it works. Now in the same way that you armored him up in alt mode, you can do that exact same thing with him in robot mode. So he's got his Gatling guns here. Let's bring those out. He's got the shoulder cannons now. And with a small transformation, you can bring the large cannons up and over his head by just flipping this gray piece. There's a small gray piece just right here. You flip it up and you can now bring these cannons right up over top of his back and flip those additional cannons out and bring those out and up to make a full-on hardcore armored up Ultra Magnus that is ready for some Decepticon beatdown. As far as articulation goes, he actually doesn't have a lot of it. That's unfortunate, but I do understand it with a figure of such size. Ankle joints, there are none. Basically, he has a toe that really doesn't do much. He has a thigh swivel, so you can get a bit of movement there. He has an upper leg pelvis joint. It's a ratchet joint, but it acts like a ball joint. So he has a joint up in the top of the leg there. He has no waist swivel, so he can't turn side to side very easily. His shoulders do turn. They can go 360. He does have a bicep swivel. He has an elbow swivel. Like I mentioned, he does have the hand articulation, not much, but it's there. He has no wrist swivel, so you can't really get him to swing the hammer at all. Just make him look like he's holding it. His head does move. It does, without the armor here, it will go most of the way around. So it will go 180 degrees. But yeah, and like I mentioned too, he has the mouth. He has the mouth articulation too, which is a nice touch, but not necessary. All in all, I do really like this figure. For $10, it's amazing. I actually had been planning to get him eventually, and I had seen some people selling him mint in box, and for I think $40 or whatever. And I thought that was a really good price, but $10 open with all the stuff, I couldn't pass it up. So I highly recommend this figure. I think it's fabulous, and yeah, it's definitely a figure. If you're a fan of the animated show, I think you should definitely get it. Anyway, this has been Cybertronian Beast, and I'll talk to you later.